Yes, thanks a lot for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Frank, actually based in Frankfurt. Probably makes sense given my first name. And I'm in charge of the operations in DACH at Encompass. But before I'm talking about Encompass, let me quickly recap how easy it is, meanwhile, for us as a private consumer to open an account. So I would say that has changed since the pandemic, that new technology, new software came into the market, and it's meanwhile really, really easy. You can sit at home using your smartphone, NFC, e-signing capabilities, liveness detection, and job is done. You can start your banking transactions the same day. But how does it look if a corporate client wants to get onboarded? I can tell you it's not similar, unfortunately, not yet. So it takes really a long time, and by talking to our clients and prospects, it turned out that, of course, there's a difference if you have a small local player or a multi-international player being operating across a lot of jurisdictions. And let's stay with that example. So by talking to our clients and prospects, it turned out that to onboard such a multinational player, it takes more than 90 days, even sometimes longer, and here we can talk about a couple of months. Why is that the case? Because that process is still done manually. So imagine a KYC analyst has to go to all these registers and premium providers taking out all that kind of information from 100 of documents and creating the corporate hierarchy, creating the ownership structure, and then also identify the UBOs. During that process, it's also hard to follow the compliance standards of a bank. And also it can happen that at the same time, a corporate has some changes. So the work is done, and then you need to do the adjustments. A very painful and really time-consuming process. And I would say based on that, there's really a need to change. Because on one side, the banks or the institutions want to catch up with the competition, want to improve clients' experience. On the other side, there's a lot of frustration, internally, but also externally. Let me start with internally. So you can imagine that job is done by someone probably just graduated from the university and doing quite often basic manual stuff. No, it's not really fun, and those guys are usually staying not that long in the position and moving on. On the other side, if a corporate client is probably waiting 1.5 months to get onboarded, they might drop out during that process and go somewhere else where they can get quicker access to that. What if a corporate client can experience the same user journey or onboarding journey as a consumer today? How is that possible? With our recently launched platform called the Corporate Digital Identity Solution, it's working in that way. We have directly integrated APIs to most of the common registries, regulators, exchanges next to premium providers, and all that stuff can be done within minutes. How we are doing it? So actually, we are, so to say, programming each step an analyst would do in a sequence and creating what we call a kind of a policy. That policy can be executed and is following all the time the standard process, the compliance standard process. Of course, you can have a couple of policies depending on the risk profile. During that process, we are taking care also of data normalization, entity resolution, and also match and merge, because there are a lot of information coming from a lot of sources. And what's also important to say, that once that's done, it's just half of the puzzle, because you're still missing the private sensitive information coming from the client. That process is usually done via emails, back and forth, like a ping pong. And for the client, the experience is not really that great. So we have a solution also that a bank can put in a structure what's needed from the client directly. Client get access to it, see what's needed, upload the documents. The bank can review it, approve it, so both parties has all the time full transparency about the process and can get it done. Combining the public information together with the private information is creating a digital profile, and that profile can be maintained and updated all the time. In addition, what we also provide is audit trail, so you can always follow who has done what, and also the data lineage. That means where the data is coming from if you get an audit. We are part of the Scottish delegation in the corner over there. So when you have questions, come and see us. There are a couple of more cool companies joining us.
Thank you so much. So I have some questions for you. Like, why onboarding large institutional player takes such a long time?
That's a good question. And as I said, it's really done, and we see it all the time. Okay, parts of it are probably done, also a little bit of automated, but most of the time it's really manual process. And there are a lot of errors happening during that process, a lot of data issues coming up. There's an overlap of information, so you're not really sure what to use. So, and that's really one of the main problems we're experiencing.
Okay, assume we don't have institutional player moving slow in the room. I'm not. Like, when they contact you right now, like, how long is the onboarding process with you? How can they imagine onboarding with you using your solution?
You mean
how long does it take?
Yeah. How long does it take? It really varies. We have a user interface where you can get probably within a month. We have to set up these policies, but also we have an API integration into existing platforms like in CRM or client lifecycle management solution, and you can directly benefit for it. But that takes a little bit longer because we have to set up the infrastructure, but also making sure that all the policies we are creating based on their needs getting done.
So I would say 1 month to 3 months?
I would say realistically, if you're using the API integration, it can, roughly 4 months, 5 months. Yeah.
Okay.
But we can do it also, depending on the resource on the other side, we can do it much quicker. But that's often a problem, that they have not enough resources on their end.
Depends on who is asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you so much. That's amazing.